विद्या मैम लाइव है अभी। हाँ जी मैम।
I'm good afternoon to one and all. Good afternoon, one and all present here. My name is Harshal Limgade, faculty from Department of Biotechnology, School of Sciences. Today we are gathered here online for the fourth day of FDP workshop, and this is a second session. And I'm really honored to make you introduce for today's guest. And today's guest name is Dr. N. Tejokalyani, ma'am. So I would like to introduce her to you all present here. So Dr. N. She is working currently as an assistant professor in the Department of Applied Physics, Lakshminarayan Innovation Technology University, Nagpur. She obtained her master's degree in physics from Sri Venkateswara University, Tirupati, Andhra Pradesh, and stood university first position. She received her doctoral research from RTM Nagpur University in the year 2010. Her research interests include synthesis, characterization, and fabrication of OLED devices and displays using complexes by vacuum deposition and solution techniques. She has been honored with the Best Award for the Best Teacher Award for the year 2021 in the field of higher education by Rashtrasant Tukaluji Maharaj Nagpur University. She has delivered number of talks at various national and international conferences. Also, it's incredible to listen that she has published more than 47 review research papers in national and also international journals. And she also has more than 16188 citations, and she also scored 542.5 in a ResearchGate. She also authored a research book on principles and applications of organic light emitting diode, which was published by Elviser, and she worked as an editor of three research edited volumes for Elviser. She is a reviewer of 11 international journals. OLED, where she carried out two minor university research projects where it was granted by government with amount of 5,45,000. And she's also involved in teaching profession since last 15 years with a good report with the students. She has authored 11 textbooks for BE, BTech, BSc, and highly reputed international national publishers like Pearson, Himalaya Publications House, Raspberry Publications, and she's also associated with the various professional bodies such as Material Research Society of India and Luminescence Society of India. So this was the small introduction, I guess, for our today's Dr. N. Tejokalyani ma'am. And now I would like to welcome our Dean Vidya Mishra ma'am to please honor her or welcome her. Vidya ma'am, yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Sir. Good afternoon, everyone. A warm welcome to each one of you for 1 week community development program organized by School of Science, Tejokalyani University, MP. This is the fourth day, second session of the gathering, dedicating to exploring the strategies of effective teaching techniques. As an organizing chair, Professor Vidya Mishra, it is my pleasure to extend a heartfelt welcome for today's eminent speaker, Dr. Tejokalyani Madam, and all the participants who have joined us today from various corners of the education community. We all of us aware and know that the teaching is a noble profession that shapes minds, empower individuals, and build societies. It is a journey of continuous learning, adaptation, and innovations. Today, we have come together to delve into the depth of effective teaching strategies that have the power to transform a classroom and inspire generations. Our esteemed guest speakers, Dr. Tejokalyani Madam, have a wealth of knowledge, experience, and insight that will undoubtedly enrich our discussion and broaden our perspective. Thank you, Madam, for accepting our invitations to deliver the lectures during our activity. I encourage all the participants to actively engage, ask questions, and participate in fruitful discussions throughout the sessions. Thank you once again, all of you, and welcome to this session.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Should I start sharing the screen, ma'am?
Yes. Now you can start.
I think you need to give permission to me to share the presentation, ma'am. Yes.
Sarang sir? Sarang sir?
I think you are able to see.
Yes, madam. Yes.
Yes. Good afternoon to one and all. First, I would like to thank Harshal sir for introducing me. And I take this privilege to be here in front of you to present on the topic effective teaching strategies. First, I would like to thank Vidya ma'am for giving me this opportunity to interact with the group of intellectuals. And even I would like to thank Yogita ma'am and Naidu ma'am for being in touch with me since I accepted this invitation. And I think this is the fourth day of the faculty development program on innovative teaching learning tools for academicians. I think by this time all the participants have got certain insights about the effective teaching and learning tools for academicians. And today my deliberation would focus on effective teaching strategies. Is my voice audible and clear, ma'am? I would like to confirm before I further
Yes,
start
madam.
with.
Yes, madam.
Okay.
Absolutely clear.
Yes, thank you. So my topic of presentation is effective teaching strategies. And first, let us try to understand, are we a good teacher? So in fact, if we are professor, as we teach, I consider even professor as a teacher. So in my deliberation, I'll be talking about teacher instead of quoting the word professor. So now let us try to introspect ourselves and ask ourselves about, are we good teachers? So the answer for this question would be yes, if at all, if we have certain traits. So now let us try to understand what must be the traits of an ideal teacher. Before moving further, first I would like to define an ideal teacher. So I would like to define an ideal teacher as a true guide who makes every effort to help students reach their maximum learning potential. So as a teacher, we are guiding the students. We are taking lot of efforts to help the students so that they'll reach certain height as far as their potential. So it's our job. We are paid for that. It is our passion, and hence it's our duty to guide and help the students to reach greater heights. So going back to the same question, are we good teachers? So as I said, the answer would be yes. If at all we have at least few of the parameters which I'm going to list now. The first thing is passion. So one can not be a good teacher just by profession. So we'll be a good teacher by passion. So if you have passion, definitely will be a good teacher. Passion is something which we like to do. So if at all we want to be a good teacher, we need to have passion. A passionate teacher looks more energetic and enthusiastic. So suppose let us share an experience with you. Like whenever I go for a class for the very first time, that is for whenever we take the first class of the new session, I first ask them to introduce, and I'll ask them, what's your passion? What would like to be in the future? And most of the students say other than teacher. So I particularly ask them, how many of you are interested to be a teacher? So very few of them raise their hands. But after few years, that is after passing their graduation, I myself witnessed that the same students have not raised their hands have become the faculty of LIT itself as a contributory teacher. So what I'm trying to say here is, fortunately or unfortunately, by chance or by opportunity, if you get a chance to be a teacher, definitely you can be a teacher. If it is by choice, you have a passion towards teaching, but if it is an only the opportunity you got and you grab that opportunity, then you need to develop the passion so that you can love teaching and do it well. So the next characteristic trait which one should have is the commitment. So as per the NEP policy, as well as being an academic institute and autonomous institute, now we are messed up with preparing the syllabus. So what syllabus is to be included, what is to be changed, what would be the teaching strategies, what would be the credits to this, what must be the total credits for that particular course. So we are doing all these things. So whenever we are framing the syllabus, what I'm trying to say here is the syllabus must be student centric, not teacher centric. I've gone through few syllabus while preparing the syllabus. I've gone through certain websites and have gone through the syllabus, and I've seen that the heading is different and the content inside is different. So we need to develop the syllabus in such a way that it's the need of the student. It must be student centric. After studying this particular course, they should have employability, marketability in the society. And in this journey, we'll be given a very new subject to teach. I'll repeat. So we are framing the syllabus and we are getting certain syllabus which is very new to us, and we are going to teach that for the very first time. In this case, we should not give up in our quality of teaching, because we are paid for teaching, and we should have commitment to teach well in the same as if the whole syllabus we used to teach. So the commitment is very important for every teacher. Whatever may be the task, whatever may be the situation, you should not give up in the quality of teaching. So you need to teach well. So if you want to teach well, you need to take certain time to work. You need to prepare yourself and you need to put extra effort so that you can teach well. I'll take an example of myself. Immediately after completing my MSc, so I came to Nagpur, and I think so by opportunity I got a job to teach. Like at VNIT, I have gone to the advertisement and applied for at the ad hoc basis at VNIT in the physics department. I was selected, and in the same year, in the 2003, PRC has become VNIT. So you know the admission would be like with the creamy students. So that was the very first experience. I never taught to anybody, and that was the first time I was supposed to teach for such students. So in that case, I didn't give up. I thought that was the very first time I used to teach. So I took one day to teach for 1 hour. So if I want to take class tomorrow, I used to spend 24 hours to teach for that one particular hour. And really, I will say that I continued for that particular job from 2003 to 2005. So later, in between 2004, I've registered for my PhD. And since the work is not going on because of this particular job, I thought that I should quit this job because it is ad hoc. I should complete my PhD and then go for a permanent job. So I quitted from that particular job, and I started pursuing my PhD. So you'll not remember that the head of the Department of Physics, VNIT, came to my home and he requested me to come back and take your duties as an ad hoc teacher again, because they're facing problem with the other teachers who are newly joined. So if you have commitment and if you are progressing well and if you are teaching well with the efforts which you are taking, definitely you have recognition. Again, one more thing I would like to mention here, like when I used to teach for that particular student, the head of the department, the head of the department used to come to my cabin and ask me, Kalyani, what are you going to teach tomorrow? So I used to say, like, this is what me you teach in this way, it would give you a better feeling, so better understanding to the students, and you'll be comfortable if at all you teach here. So if you have commitment, you can learn anything, and definitely you can be a good teacher. And the next thing which you need to have at home is the time management skills. So you need to have, as a teacher, you need to have the skill to manage the time. So you need to start the class on time and you need to end the class on time. So if at all you are doing this, the students would be prepared in such a way that they'll be well disciplined in coming to the college. So I usually have the class at 9 o'clock. So our college starts at 9. So 2 days I have class at 9 o'clock. So the very first class, the students used to come at 9:05 and 9:10. So I gave them warning in the very first day, on the very first day, and I asked them, if you want to be in my class, you should be before 9. Before I come, you must be there. But I'll be giving you a grace period of 5 minutes and you should not be after that. So in the next class, the students started coming before time and they used to be in the class before I arrived to the class. So as a teacher, first we should have good time management skills so that the students will be well disciplined. And the very important thing which we would like to say about the time management skills is that in the very beginning of the profession, we are preparing the content for an hour. But I think most of you have experienced the same thing. Like you'll be completing your content within 40 minutes and you cannot leave the class for the rest of 20 minutes. You need to manage the things. You need to be there within the class for an hour. In that case, what you can do is, so you are knowing that you are going to end up with your content shortly. So take a pause over there. Ask the students related to the questions which you have taught on that day. If at all they answer, fine, go for the next question. If at all they don't answer, just ask about what's the problem in answering, whether they have understood or not. If they have not understood, you can repeat the things once again. So in this way, you can manage the time and you can be there, you can engage the class for the complete 1 hour. So you should have good time management skills, and this comes with experience. And next comes motivation. You must be a motivator. Teacher must be a motivator. So you need to motivate the students in such a way that they create or they have or they will be gaining interest out of your class and out of your subject. So I can take my example. When I was studying BSc, so we don't remember all the teachers who have taught us. We remember only few teachers who have taught us because they are good teachers. They teach in a special manner and they are good motivators also. So even now we remember them and we are here because of them. So as an example, as I was saying, Vijay Lakshmi madam used to teach electronics. So I was so fascinated by her teaching and I gained interest in that particular subject, that is electronics. So I thought of doing MSc in electronics, but I didn't get an opportunity because I want to travel 6 hours far away from my place, and hence my parents refused to be there, and hence I took this physics as an option. So whatever you go in future of your career depends upon the teachers who teach, and hence you must be a good motivator. So you have the mentor-mentee scheme also. During your this interaction, you need to motivate the students. You need to analyze about their marks in the earlier subjects. Even you need to be in touch with the personal aspects also, so that they will feel free with you to talk and you can mentor them properly, so that they'll be gaining good grades in the classes. The next thing is to have a good feedback. So before talking about feedback, so suppose if I complete this lecture after 1.5 hours, I myself can introspect myself and say that this lecture has gone well, this lecture has not gone well. So it's not up to the mark. So in the same way, after taking a class of 1 hour, you yourself should introspect yourself. Have you done well? Have you thought as if you have planned? So if at all yes, then fine. If not, you need to work on the things where you are missing. And accordingly, you need to change the strategy of preparation and you need to prepare yourself. And the second aspect is your feedback is also important. Students are giving you the feedback, how you teach. And this feedback is very important for your promotions or even the self-satisfaction. And we at LIT have adopted 360-degree feedback. So academic appraisal, what you say, like CR, confidential report. So instead of confidential report, it was like 360 feedback has been adopted by Vice Chancellor of our university, and we have filled that 360-degree feedback. And 360 feedback is the feedback where a teacher is to be involved in all areas or in most of the domains of teaching. Like in that, out of 100 marks, 25 marks is what student feedback. And hence student feedback is very important. Students are going to give good feedback if at all they are interested in your teaching and if they are motivated with your teaching. Okay, if they understand that, they feel more easy to write in the examinations. If they are going to score good marks, the feedback would be good. And hence you need to keep in mind that you should have a good feedback. If not, you need to improvise that. Next comes the attitude of the teacher. So the attitude of the teacher must be optimistic. Not all the time the students would be like as if we want. So we need to listen them, we need to mentor them, we need to be optimistic. If at all they are in the problem, we need to adjust or understand what exactly their problem is, and if possible we need to try to solve their problem. So we should, as a teacher, we should have an optimistic attitude. We need to be creative. We need to integrate the new technologies in teaching. We'll talk about this in next few slides. And next comes free from bias. So no one is different. All are equal for a teacher. There should be no discrimination, and you should have fair judgment on each and every student. And hence we need to be free from bias. And as a teacher, we need to learn and learn and learn. So we are lifelong learners. If you want to be updated in this today's world, we need to keep on learning the things, because students are more updated in this era. The students are more updated and they know many things related to the technology. For simplicity, let us try to understand by taking an example. Suppose if you have some problem in our mobile or in the laptop, if we ask our children, they'll do better than us. If you are not able to solve it, if you call our children, they will do it. So with respect to teaching, if they are knowing and we are not knowing, it doesn't look good. And hence, with respect to teaching, we need to update the technology and we should learn with time. And as a teacher, we need to have patience. And the next thing is we need to have good communication skills. We'll be talking about this also. We should be an active listener and we should show empathy on the students. If at all we have at least 4 to 5 traits among them, we are really a good teacher. So now let us try to understand much about the communication skills. So the ability to convey the information to others effectively and efficiently is known as communication skills. You'd be wondering about why communication skills here. So if at all you have knowledge and you don't have the way to express, you don't have good communication skills, what you are trying to convey to the students is not acceptable by the students, and hence your communication should be very clear. And for communication to be clear, first you should be clear in the aspects or the basics of that particular subject, so that you can communicate it in an effective manner. Apart from teaching, as a teacher, we need to deal with many people. So in a group, in the department or within the institution, we need to exchange ideas and suggestions. In that case, we need to have good effective skills to communicate. And if you want to maintain good and healthy relationship in the college, we need to have these good communication skills, because most of the day we are at the college and we are spending most of the time, around 8 to 9 hours at college, and hence the one who is around us are very important. We need to get connected to them, we need to enjoy with them, and we need to maintain good and healthy relationship with them. And this is possible only if you have good communication skills. Like you must be able to communicate in a proper manner so that the other persons will not be taking the things otherwise. Okay, so you should communicate mannerly and you should have good and healthy relationship. Suppose if you're going to plan something, if you want to coordinate something, you alone cannot do the things. You need to have the group of people around you to plan and coordinate, and hence this is possible only if you can communicate well. Suppose if one says no, you should have the convincing ability to convince and say that this is the way we need to do, this is not correct and this is correct. And if at all we are in teaching, the requirement for the management of employees relation is nothing but the communication skill. We need to have good skills to communicate with each and everyone irrespective of the hierarchy. And now this communication skills is a process. This communication is a process. So with the students also, whenever you are teaching in the class. So now let us try to analyze the aspects of this communication in the class. So now there are 5 different aspects. The first one being the messenger, the second one being the recipient, the third one is the message, and the fourth one is the channel, and the fifth one is the feedback. So the messenger is nothing but the one who is speaking, the one who is delivering, which is nothing but the teacher. So here is the teacher. Teacher is going to pass on certain message to the student. The recipient is student here. So the teacher is passing on certain message, are teaching some content to the student. So the information the teacher is giving certain input in the form of information, and it is received by the recipient, that is nothing but the student. So now how you are going to pass on this information? This is passed through the message, and you need certain channel to pass on this content. So either you speak and say orally, or you'll write it on the blackboard and say, or you'll be showing the graphics or video to the students so that they can understand. But there should be some code in common among the messenger and receiver. So if at all I'm speaking, say X, the recipient should understand it as X, not as X dash dy by dx or dx by dy and so on. So whatever I am saying, it must be the information should be passed and it should be understood by the student in the same manner what I'm trying to convey. So if at all the student is understanding the things, then only the feedback will be given. There will be certain answers as the feedback. If not, the process of communication is going to stop. And hence here feedback plays an important role. If at all the student is understanding, he'll be responding for the questions you ask. If the feedback is not good, you need to understand that the person has not understood what he want to study. So however maybe good, like in communicating, there could be certain barriers, and you need to like overcome these barriers, and you need to try to understand what barriers we are facing, so because of which the students are not understanding. There could be some barriers from the students also, because not all the students have reached the college from the same place. Some could be from villages, some could be from Marathi media, there could be n number of ways or different students whom we are facing. First, we need to understand what are their barriers. Language is the barrier, or the environment is the barrier. What's the barrier? We need to understand the barriers, and then we need to resolve the problem, and accordingly we need to change our style of teaching also. And then comes, you should be an active listener. So whenever the teacher is teaching, the student is listening. In the same way, whenever student is asking certain questions or certain doubts, we need to understand the question and try to respond for that particular thing. So there is a model which is known as Hoodyer model for listening, and you need to ask the student to adopt this active listening skills. Like that hearing, I think you know the difference between the hearing and listening. Hearing is just hearing, like you're not paying attention. If the bird is chirping there, something goes into your ears, that is nothing but hearing. But if you're paying attention to that and you're trying to understand what you are hearing, and if you're remembering that, interpreting it and evaluating it, and accordingly if you're responding it, then only it's listening. And hence you must be a good listener, and you should make your student to be a good listener. And the next things, the empathy. So we generally use few terminologies synonymously, like sympathy, empathy, and compassion. So the teacher must be empathetic. Let us try to understand what's the basic difference between empathy, sympathy, and compassion. So now a student has failed in one of the subject, and that girl is depressed over here, and here you are there to console her. So sympathy is nothing but understanding and acknowledging the feelings of the sufferer. So you're not feeling, you're just acknowledging there. That is sympathy. Yes, don't worry, you'll pass in the next attempt. So you just say that. If at all, if you're talking about empathy, we are understanding and feeling the feeling of sufferer. We are personally feeling about the problem of that particular person. We are feeling. And if you are giving some solution for that, then it is known as compassion. So now we need to feel the feeling of the sufferer. If possible, we'll be giving a solution for that. So as a teacher, you must be empathetic, and you need to consider the problems and feelings of the students, and accordingly, if at all it is possible, you need to give a certain solution to the students, the problem of the students. Now let us start with the traditional teaching strategies. Till now, what we have understood is what must be the traits of a teacher. So if at all you want to be a good teacher, there are certain parameters which you need to inculcate. Now coming to the teaching strategies. So now first let us start with traditional teaching strategies, and later we'll be going for the contemporary teaching strategies. So now as far as teaching strategies is concerned, we are teaching and students are learning between the four walls of the classroom. So this is what we are doing. That is what I'm telling now. And the next is that students are going to sit in rows and they're going to face the teacher. Then comes the direct instruction learning. the teacher is directly instructing the students and students are learning it either by taking the notes or they are just listening and putting in their mind. So we are using the chalk and talk to instruct them directly, and this is the style which we are following now. And recently after COVID we started, or during COVID, we have gone for ICT tools, but again we came back to the chalk and talk technology, but we need to inculcate these ICT tools also in the teaching style of ours. So the students are going to rely on the textbooks. We just say that this is the notes to read for this particular topic, or we'll say that this is textbook which we want to refer. The students are not going beyond the notes or beyond the textbook. And then comes, they are going to learn in that particular pace and in that particular schedule. So what I'm trying to say here is the timetable is prepared, the schedule is given, and for 1 hour they are going to read that particular subject or listen to that particular subject, and we have time limit within this, once we want to complete this particular module. So there is certain pace, so we need to follow that particular schedule, and accordingly we need to complete the syllabus. And then the students are learning through listening. They are listening, or they are just observing. Not all the students take the notes. Most of them write the notes, but few of them just listen. They observe what the teacher is saying and they store in their mind directly. But according to me, so it should be notes is to be taken, because we are keeping in mind. If you don't take notes for timing, we may remember them, but after a certain time, after lapse of time, say like 1 week, we'll not be able to recall the things, and hence notes taking is very important, and we need to ask the students to take the notes. And they just memorize the facts. They are interested to mug up the things and write the examination. They want to pass and get good grades. The teacher in this in this traditional teaching strategies, the teacher is disciplinarian. Mean the teacher wants discipline from the students, and the teacher itself is well disciplined. And now the objective of the students is just to pass the examination. For that, they just mug up the things. They are not interested to go deep into the subject, and they'll just write the exam and they'll try to pass. And now, because of the students' attitude, the teachers are also under pressure, because of them the result will go in vain. So the teachers are also in increased pressure, and they want to push the students with good grades and attain our own targets. So this is the contemporary teaching style. And now these are the disadvantages, I can say, like it's time and location bound. We need to go to that particular place daily. We need to make up and down. That is the problem of daily commute. So the fees, you need to pay a lot of fees, and mainly it is theory based, and the practical is limited. So in this case, the students, what they are doing is they are just reading that particular textbook which teacher has prescribed, or the notes which the teacher has given, and they're just reading that. They're trying to pass with good grades, and they don't want to think beyond the box, and hence the students are lacking in the critical thinking. So they're just learning for the degrees and grades. They just want to pass, and hence they are memorizing, and they don't have creativity and the cognitive abilities. So this is the traditional teaching strategy of today. And in the same way, let us try to understand what's the attitude of today's student. So there are positive attitudes as well as negative attitudes. So am I audible?
Yes, madam.
Yes. So so let us try to understand the attitude of today's students. So I can say that there are positive attitude, there are positive aspects as well as negative aspects of the student, today's student. So they are creative. In some cases, they are creative, they are sharp, and they are technology enabled, they are innovative, and even critical thinkers, but not all, but not in all the cases, but only in few cases. But today's youth have no any ambition. They are just wasting their time for nothing. They are not focused. What you want to be in future, they are not. They have not decided yet. If you talk to the first year or second year students, only few students they that say that I want to be this and this. But most of the students will not say that I want to be this. For namesake, they'll say that I want to be this, but they are not focused. And most of them are irresponsible. If at all we ask them to submit the assignment before time, they will not submit the assignment. There will be few students who will bother the teacher and it is like the teacher should remind the students number of times to submit the assignment. Otherwise, the grades will be lost and we'll be responsible for that. But what I feel is sometimes we need to be strict and we should remind their responsibility. We should not take their assignments after the time, after the due date, and the next time they'll learn the lesson and they'll be responsible. And the students have the habit of procrastinating. They don't want to do the times before the given schedule. So they procrastinate their plans. And this is what is observed. And most of them are indisciplined. The discipline which we used to see before before Corona, we can say, and the lot which you get after Corona, there is a tremendous change in their behavior, in their discipline, and their responsibility. In most of the aspects, the students after Corona have changed a lot. And now there is a need to change them back to the earlier era. So now, for this first, we want to teach them what exactly the discipline is. So now we should take the example and say that the best and easiest way to look for a perfect discipline and perseverance is to look at the sunrise. So nobody is asking the sun to come, that is to rise and to set. So it's doing its own duty. It has its own discipline. It's coming on time, it's going on time. So in the same way, the heartbeat is also functional. So it's sort of a music, if at all you enjoy it. So it is doing its own work. So self-discipline is very important. This is what we want to inculcate in the students. First, the teacher should be self-disciplined, and then the student will automatically be self-disciplined. So there are many aspects where discipline is very important, not only in the personal life, not only at the family, in the society, student life, in the army, or wherever you go, whatever job you take up, the discipline is important. And this is what first the teacher should teach to the students. Maybe during the school days, they have already learned it. From the family, they have already learned it. So during the induction programs, we need to remind them about the action of this self-discipline. And now, the strength of the nation lies in discipline. It's well said. If you want to be successful, success is tons of discipline. So as a teacher, we should play a role in bringing up these students in the congenial and disciplined environment. So this is all what they know, but it's our responsibility to remind them if at all they are not in discipline. Now, we need to ask them to set a SMART goal. If at all they don't have any goal, first we need to ask them to set a SMART goal. So what does this SMART mean? SMART is specific, S for specific. So they should have specific goal. It must be measurable. So you must be able to achieve it. So if at all you don't have that much knowledge to become an IPS or IAS officer, so the goal which you are trying to achieve will be difficult if at all you are not self-disciplined. So whatever is possible to achieve from your level, at your level, you must be able to set that particular goal. So it must be relevant, and you must feel responsible, and timely action is to be taken to reach that particular goal. And hence setting a SMART goal in the very beginning, that is the very first year of engineering, is very important. So now in the classroom, we need to create possibility, and there comes the effective teaching strategy. No student should say that I can't do it. Whatever may be the situation, we need to create a positive attitude among the students, so that whatever may be the problem they are going to face will be adopted, and they can do it without saying I can't do it. So now, changing the way you teach every now and then can keep your students excited for your classes. So now you should change your way of teaching. So as you know, as per NEP policy, student subject teacher evaluation is a parameter of the student's internal marks. So what we have done is, as if you see the puzzles in the Twinkle book of Hitvada, so the crosswords, we have for a subject, for the subject, I need to say like physics, I've considered the crystal structure and X-rays. I've prepared the crosswords. So vertically, horizontally, there would be certain questions you want to fill horizontally, I want to fill it vertically based on the numbers. First question, horizontally across. Maybe you know all these things. So I prepared a crossword and I've given the students to fill it. And this was the assessment I've taken. Instead of asking them to write a question, so properties of what is unit cell, write the characteristics of unit cell for 7 marks. Instead of giving that, we have prepared a crossword and asked the students to fill it up. Most of the students have done it correctly because they love that type of exam. Maybe they have understood the things, they have the concept. Maybe all the students cannot write the descriptive part. So as a part of subject teacher evaluation, this is what we have adopted at LITU. So now, why we need to go for such effective teaching strategies? Because we want to evoke interest among the students. So now we want to promote deep learning and retention ability. So they are listening in the class, whether they are understanding or not. So we need to have a check on it. So we need to adopt certain strategies in deep, and whatever they have learned, they are able to retain them after a lapse of time. That is known as retention. If you are going to remember for a longer period of time, I can say that your retention is good. So this is what we want to do. If at all they are learning it from basics, the retention would be good. And there could be a possibility of flexible thinking. Why only this? So suppose if I'm saying, if I'm teaching something, they would be able to think why this is like this, why this cannot be that. So there could be flexible thinking, and we need to give certain time to think in a flexible manner. And the output would be, or the outcome would be positive learning. And hence we need to go for effective teaching strategies. Now let us try to understand what these strategies are. Just a minute. I'm not able to go to the next slide. Yes. So now these are the incredible teaching strategies which we are going to discuss today. So the incredible teaching strategies are, I've taken 10 effective teaching strategies. The first one is student-centric discussion, collaborative learning, flipped classroom, multi-sensory teaching, technology integration, differentiated instruction, student-led classroom, project-based learning, active learning technologies, and formative assessment strategies. So let us try to understand much better by considering each and every one. The first one is student-centric discussion. So first we need to question ourselves, is our teaching student-centric? What do you mean by student-centric? Are they interested with that? Are they able to understand? Is it applicable to them? Will they get a job after studying that particular thing which you are teaching in the class? This is what is to be questioned first. So accordingly, the syllabus is to be framed. Accordingly, we need to give liberty to the students. So not, suppose if you have 3 lectures in a week, 1 lecture should be student-centric discussion and 2 lectures would be like chalk and talk. So the third class, which is student-centric discussion, in that lecture, we can ask the students about their problems, or we can assign certain activities and ask them to complete that particular task. And these tasks would be related to the 2 classes which we have discussed, which we have taken earlier. That is the 2 lectures which we have completed in the previous week. And if at all we are going for student-centric sort of discussion, they are going to learn because the students are working on that. They are involved in that. They'll just ask the questions like why we are doing this, how we are doing this, what is to be done, where it should be done. So because they're involved, they'll learn the things in a better manner, and hence student-centric discussion is very important. As I said earlier, we need to question ourselves about what will the students be able to do at the end of the course. So we usually prepare the course outcome, program specific outcome. Why are we doing all these things? Because we are interested in student-centric approach, and hence we are framing this course outcome, program outcome in such a way that these output will be very useful for a student if at all they are going for employability. And even after the end of the lesson, what they are going to learn, that is also we are framing along with the syllabus. After the course, what they are going to learn, and after the lesson or the unit or the module, what they are going to learn. And you need to check in between, how will we know if students are progressing? Whether the students are progressing or not, how are you going to check? So we are going to take number of examinations like continuous internal evaluation. We take continuous internal evaluation that is known as CIE, CIE 1, CIE 2 and CIE 3. So CIE 1 is conducted immediately after the first unit. We'll just assess the students who is doing well, who is not doing well, and accordingly we'll let them know about what are the possibilities for improvement, what's the scope of improvement. And in CIE 2, we'll just see whether there is a progress in the student's performance or not. This is how we need to check whether the student is progressing or not. So now we have one more thing to discuss here, that is we need to go for certain activities also. So you need to go for brainstorm activities with the question, what do students need to practice to progress? If at all the students have not done well, so what is to be practiced, what is to be said to the students, in which way we want to develop the students so that there will be progress in the next examination. Finally, think about your content, whether you are teaching well or not. Whatever is important, that is what you are teaching, are the student need from the instructor in order to progress. What do students need from the instructor in order to progress? So accordingly, if at all we are expecting some progress from the teacher, in what way we can change our way of teaching so that the students may understand and progress. This is what we need to question, and accordingly we need to teach. And next comes the collaborative learning. So collaborative learning, as a word collaborative says that we need to form the groups and we need to assign certain activities so that the students will involve in such activities, communicate with other people, they share their knowledge and they'll complete that particular task. So this is focusing on teamwork and the partnership. So now how to make the groups? So we can say that we can randomly say that you can form your own groups, because the students, the frequency of the students may match if at all we give certain choice to them. If at all we ask them to choose their group, they may choose those students of their own frequency. So this is an option. So depending upon the learning style also, we can make the groups. So depending upon the interest, we can make the groups. Heterogeneous, some are intelligent, some are not intelligent, some are average students. So for collaborative learning, the poor student will learn from intelligent student. So homogeneous, if at all there are certain targeted activities, we can mix up students of a similar kind and we can go for collaborative learning. So to say, it's an approach in which students study in groups to enhance their learning outcomes. So instead of chalk and talk, instead of instructing the students, we are giving the basic knowledge of that particular task and we are making them in the groups and we are asking them to discuss, and we are going to just monitor what exactly they are doing. So in that case, they can reform the ideas, understand the other person's perspective. So it's not like if at all 2-3 brains mix up, there could be a good output. So it is a best way of teaching, or we can say the best way of teaching strategy, where we want to involve the students in collaborative learning. So working on the development of new assignments, sharing ideas and concepts with students, and working on projects are examples of collaborative learning. So not every day we are going for collaborative learning. If at all we have 3 lectures, 1 lecture should be either for student-centric discussion or the collaborative learning. It depends upon the teacher, it depends upon the necessity of the students, the quality of the students, which type of strategy we are supposed to adopt. So now let us go for pairing the students. Now for collaborative learning, we can group the students and assess them or assign certain tasks in the following ways. First thing is think, pair and share. So in this case, a pair of students, 2 students will form a group and they'll give a joint response. A question will be given or a problem will be given or even a visual will be given. They both will discuss and they'll come to a conclusion and they'll share their opinion on that particular question or the problem or the visual shown to them. So that is think, pair and share. The next way of grouping and assessing them is think, pair and square. Instead of 1 pair, here we are going to form 2 pairs, and here the same problem, the same question or the same visual is given, and these 2 pairs are going to discuss among themselves and the joint response will be recorded. And then comes the group discussion. So group discussion is a sort of discussion where 6 to 15 people are sitting together and they are given a problem. They'll be discussing about that problem or an idea, and they'll be coming up with certain solution or some suggestion. So that is group discussion, and this is generally done when the number is more. So in the first case, we have considered only one pair. In the second case, we have considered two pairs. And in the third case, if the number is more, then we'll be going for group discussion. If the number is further more, then we'll be going for fishbowl debate. So in this case, you can see that here you have a group A, like few students are sitting in this particular circle and few more students are sitting in the outer circle. So fishbowl debate involves two groups, like group A sitting in the inner circle and group B sitting in the outer circle. So group A students are going to discuss, and group B are just going to observe and take a note of what they are saying. And at the end, they'll be discussing and they'll be coming to a conclusion. So, or vice versa, the group B will start discussing and group A will be observing, and they'll be coming to a final decision at the end. And the last, if at all the group is furthermore, if you want to involve the complete class, in that case, first we'll be forming pairs. You can see here the red 2 blocks, 1 page, 2 page, 3 page, 4 page. So these 2 pages, that is a square, we can say think page square, is going to form 4 of them, a group of 4. Again, from here there is group of 4. We are combining these group of 4s into 8s, and similarly 2 8s going to be 16, and so on. Here in this way we can involve the complete class. So now in the same way, there is one more effective teaching strategy which is known as flipped classroom. So in this case, usually what we do is we teach and we give some assignment or the homework so that they'll go home and practice that. The inverse or the reverse is the flipped classroom. The students learn new concepts at their home, either through videos or some links which are given by the teachers, and they'll come to the class they'll come to the school, and in the class they are going to discuss about what they have watched at their home, and they are going to discuss about that. They can make collaborative projects and they can solve certain problems if at all they have solutions, and they are going to come to a conclusion, and they're presenting that solution in the form of a presentation, or it could be a debate, or it could be an experiment. So advantage of this flipped classroom is that the students are more engaged, and hence they'll develop good analytical skills, and they'll learn much more, and they'll develop self-confidence about that particular topic which they have already studied. So this is again a effective teaching strategy. And next comes multi-sensory teaching technique, which is known as VAK technique. So V stands for visual, A stands for auditory, and kinesthetic is K. So the first thing here is there could be certain students who can learn best from observing. They'll go through the diagrams, they can go through the charts and pictures. At a glance, they can understand what they are seeing. And there could be few students, if they read, they are not able to understand. If they listen, they are going to understand. So there could be certain students whose sensory organ, that is ear, is going to work properly. They are learning effectively through listening. And there could be some kind of people who will learn by performing the things, either by physical activity or hand-on session. So we need to categorize the people from your class who are like visually been learning best visually through auditory. How many of the students are learning better, and are there any students who are not able to understand unless and until they perform it practically? So we need to according to the requirement, we need to assess the students who are good at what, and we need to categorize. But it is a burden for the teachers to do all these things. But the latest are the current students are in such a way that if you want to have a good improvement or good output from the students, we need to analyze their best way of learning, and accordingly we need to train them in that manner. And the next strategy is the technology integrated strategy. So not only the chalk and talk, wherever applicable, we need to go for ICT tools. We need to show the animated images or animated videos so that they can understand the functioning of that particular thing which you are trying to explain. And physically, if you are drawing on the board and if you're trying to explain them, they may not understand the working of it. In that case, there comes the technology integration. Wherever required, there could be a chance for the students to understand better, and hence integrated technology is very important in today's era of teaching. So there are smart classes. Most of the colleges have adopted smart classes where you can use ICT tools along with the talk and chalk. Wherever required, you'll be going for talk and chalk, and wherever required, wherever you try to show the things in a better manner, maybe the students will not feel bored if at all in between if you are integrating the technology in your classroom. So this is the one more strategy. And the next thing is differentiated instruction. So there are certain people who are very intelligent, and few of them are slow learners. I should not say intelligent and poor, slow learners and fast learners. Okay, suppose if you're talking about the advanced learner, not fast, even we can say advanced learners. So in the continuous assessment CIE, I have analyzed that this group of students are performing well, and this group of students need progress. They can improve in the next examination. So I can identify the ability of the students based on the assessment which I have done, and I'll categorize them as the basic learners and the advanced learners. So for the basic learners, we need to go for the remedial coaching. Remedial coaching means a particular class will be taken, and it will be not for teaching, it will be just for discussion. Ask the students about what problem they are facing in that particular unit, where they are not understanding, where they are lagging, and accordingly we need to explain them about that particular aspects and make them their doubts clear. And the second group of people are the advanced learners. Advanced learners are a kind of people who are well performing in the examinations, and they can do better, and we can stretch their abilities by encouraging them to do the research, or we can send them for some conferences or from student conventions. In this way we can instruct them, we can differentiate their abilities first, and we can send them accordingly. But we need to keep in mind that the basic learner should not, just a bit, I'll just charge up. Okay, so accordingly we need to send the students as per their requirement or as per their knowledge. But we need to keep in mind that the basic learners should not feel that they are at the back step and other students are at the front step. So we need to encourage these basic learners to move ahead and reach to that particular level. And this type of training is nothing but differentiated instruction. So some of them learn, few students may understand, as I said, BAK style. The same thing here, we need to differentiate and we need to instruct them accordingly. And next comes student-led classroom. So we should give liberty for the students, and we need to encourage the students to teach, to come friend and teach on the board so that the other students will listen. And we are just a facilitator or a guide, and we are just providing the resources for them, and they are leading the classroom. So in this way, whenever the student is leading, they understand the things better. So now let us try to understand, whenever we are studying MSc or BSc, whatever topics we have studied and we wrote the exam, we passed with the flying colors. But when we start teaching, the things would be different. We need to go into the deeper sense, and we need to understand. In the same way, whenever a chance is given for a student to lead the classroom, in the same way the basics would be clear, and hence this is a strategy where we can apply for the students to improve their basics and encourage them to lead the class. And we can give the projects to them and ask them to learn. So they'll be identifying the students' learning, whether they'll be able to do it or not, in which aspect they are interested. Accordingly, we'll plan that particular project, and we'll generate a timetable, and according to the timetable, for the 10 days this is what you want to do, for the next 10 days you want to do this, and in this way they'll be going to complete that particular project. and they'll be concluding the project and giving a solution for that project. And this is a way to learn, and this learning is based on the project. This is again an effective teaching strategy. So effective teaching strategy doesn't mean that you need to leave the chalk and talk and you want to go on this particular aspect. So apart from chalk and talk, you need to spend certain time in this type of activity so that the students will be involved much, and they'll be performing better because they'll be understanding better. And the next is the active teaching and learning strategies. So now you need to activate the students. In most of the cases, we see that after 30 minutes of the class, the students will be bored and they'll be like relaxed and they'll be becomes passive. We need to activate them in between by asking the questions, or giving certain demonstrations, or we need to have certain discussions. So we need to involve the students. If at all we feel that they are passive, we need to involve the active teaching and learning technologies so that they will involve and learn better. And now we assess them either by formative assessment or the summative assessment, and both sequentially. Like a formative assessment is the one which we conduct either in the form of a test or a survey or a questionnaire, depending upon the interest, or a crossword, whatever it may be. So we are going to assess them. We have taught them and now we are going to assess them. So after assessing, the ways to assess is the formative assessment. And let us try to understand what exactly it is. After every unit, if you're going to take the exam, it's going to be the formative assessment. After the complete syllabus, it's going to be the summative assessment. Here, there is, if at all, in formative assessment, if the student has not performed well, we can improve the quality of writing or the quality of understanding. But whereas in summative assessment, it's a final examination, there is no scope for improvement. Maybe in the next semester they may improve, but not within that semester. So as soon as we complete the formative assessment, we need to assess their performance, and accordingly we need to train them so that in the next examination they are going to do better. So according to Plutarch, the mind is not a vessel that needs filling, but like wood that needs igniting. So it's not like we are going to fill the content. So we want to ignite their minds so that they will understand what they are reading. So according to Albert Einstein, education is not learning the facts, but the training of the mind to think. So now, pushing our teaching techniques down the pyramid. So if you can see the learning, this is known as learning pyramid. There are certain passive teaching methods and participating teaching methods. According to the survey, it has been like concluded that through lecture, they are just going to learn 5%. And through reading, they are going to learn only the 10%. And by audio visual, they are going to learn by only 20%. By demonstration, we are demonstrating certain experiment. Unless and until they do it, they are not going to understand perfectly. Demonstration is far better. By 30%, they are trying to understand. But if you involve them to participate in teaching, participatory teaching methods mean we are involving them in the group discussions, or we are giving a chance to perform the experiment. And if we ask them to teach others, then they are going to learn most of it. So the passive teaching methods include the lectures, chalk and talk, PPT. They are going to listen and take the notes. And reading, they are just reading it. The thing which we want to focus here is we want to make the student understand about the parameters of effective reading. Most of the students will say that I've read yesterday, but I'm unable to recall it today. So we want to like train them by making them aware of this parameters of effective reading. There could be certain students who have good reading efficiency, they have good reading speed, and they are able to remember that for a longer period of time. Suppose if you are talking about the reading speed, it may vary from person to person, situation, even the purpose. So the reading speed is calculated by a formula like number of words spelled per minute, like 200 words per 4 minutes is going to be 300 words per minute. This is ideal reading speed. So now we need to make the students aware which type of reading you want to consider. You want to go for careful reading, the rapid reading, or the skimming, or the scanning. So if you are reading a textbook, then you need a careful reading, because you are reading the textbook, you want to understand it and you want to have deep knowledge of that particular aspect which you are reading. Even when you are reading the question paper, you need to go for careful reading. Instead of reading the question, how is it? Why is it? If they understand, the answer would be different, because the only word how and why is going to change the answer. So we need to make the students aware of the reading strategies also. So depending upon the requirement, the reading speed is to be reading speed as well as the type of reading is to be chosen. Ma'am, how much time do I have? Hello?
Hello.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, madam.
Hello?
Hello.
Okay. How much time do I have, ma'am?
Need about 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay, okay, ma'am. Okay. So depending upon to adopt that particular reading strategy, and then the reading efficiency. So reading efficiency is the students read, but they are not able to understand and they are not able to remember. So efficiency is how, and it depends upon background of the student, IQ level of the choosing, whether he is able to. If at all the student is not performing well, we need to ask what type of, how does he read, what type of reading strategy he is adopting, and what changes are to be made so that he can remember it well. So these are the retention techniques. These are the ways for the students to remember the things. So he can remember the things by any one of the way, depending upon their feasibility. Like you can remember through acronym. So all of you know that VIPCR is nothing but violet, indigo, blue. In the same way, they can adopt the same acronyms for their particular topic, and they can write their own acronym, and accordingly they can remember the things. There could be some students who can who can make the maps in their mind, and they could recall that during the examination they'll recall that mind map, and someone understands it logically so they can remember it properly. So we need to decide the priorities, which is to be remembered first, which is not to, which is of least importance, and during reading we need to avoid the distractions so that we can remember the things. So while reading, we need to question ourselves why we are reading it, when we are reading it. All 5 whys and 1 w's are to be asked, and accordingly they will be remembering the aspects of what they are reading. So there are different ways like KWL charts, what you know, what you want to know, and what you are learning about that particular subject. For an example, let us try to understand about this KWL chart. So, in a like Tanzania, this is a country, and I want to know much about this country. So I know certain aspects of this country, but I want to know much about it. So I know that this is a developing country. Maasai tribes live there, and Mount Kilimanjaro is famous over there, and this is the largest country in the East Asia. But I want to categorize about this particular place. I know these things, I want to know these aspects, and after learning the things, what you have learned is to be written over here. In the same way, for every subject, for every topic, if the student is able to know about this particular chart, they can easily remember the things. So this is the other technique which is important for a student to understand. So before coming for a class, he need to go through the textbook, survey about what topic he is going to study today, and what exactly he is going to listen today, and what questions can be asked from this particular topic, and the later is what is to be read, what is to be recalled, what is to be reviewed. So in this way, if he is going to interpret, what I'm trying to say here is, before coming for the class, the student should go through the topic, read once, try to understand. If at all he have certain questions, he can ask in the class. Again, he can go home, read it, and correlate with what teacher has taught, and he can prepare his own notes after reviewing the content. So this is known as SQ3R method. And the quality reading is a balance speed, attention, as well as retention. So if you want to accomplish your goal, if you want to accomplish your work, so intensity of focus and what time you spend and how much time you spend is very important. And hence, if you want to achieve something, you need to have focus and you need to invest certain time so as to accomplish that particular part. So the next thing is the audio visual, listen and watch. So you can listen to that particular video or watch that particular video number of times. If you don't understand, you can rewind it or fast forward it, and according to the requirement, you can listen to that particular duration number of times and try to understand. And then demonstration. Demonstration is what certain experiments we just demonstrate and will not allow the students to work upon it. And next is the discussion. If you leave the students to discuss about that particular topic, and they'll try to understand, they'll involve, and they'll try to understand in a much fashion. So whatever they do in the class, definitely practice is important. Both homework and practice allow students to deepen their understanding and proficiency with the content they are learning. So you are learning, but if you don't practice, there will be no improvement. And hence all these three, learning, practicing, and improving, are correlated. If you want to improve, you want to practice, and if you want to practice, you want to learn first, and you'll be doing better in the exams. So teaching others means if you are discussing, if that particular student have not understood and you are explaining to that particular fellow, then it would be helpful for a teacher, for a student to understand better and remember for a longer period of time. And we want to make our students prepare to the current scenario. They are tied with all the assignments. You should just remind them that you want to read something which is of your relevance. Stay focused. You need to read. You need to have the checklist about what you are supposed to do today, whether you are keeping updated to the current scenario or not. You need to critically think and should have a good foundation so that you can do better in the next semesters. This is what you want to make the students be aware of. The next thing is to develop the scientific temperament. So what do you mean by scientific temperament? It's a way we would like to look scientifically. We would like to look the word scientifically. Suppose I'm going to a shop and I'll ask, and I have gone through one particular item over there, and that item is nothing but height increaser. Okay, they are saying that you are going to increase height if you are using this particular item. So will you believe that you are going to increase the height? Is there any possibility to increase the height after certain age? Certainly no. So a layman would fall for this trick out for desperation. So he want to become tall. Maybe he's short or she is short and they want to become tall. And because of that desperation, they have purchased that one. But scientifically, if you think, really, whether we are going to grow, if you use this is to be analyzed before we do. So this is nothing but the scientific temperament. We are just analyzing the things scientifically. We need to adopt this scientific temperament. Being a part of science and technology institutes, it's our duty to make every citizen to develop scientific temperament, and this would reform the science and technology. And the learning process is of two channels, like information channel and the logic channel. The information channel takes the words, phrases, sentences, and basic information, whether the logic channel is going to extract the logic behind what you have listened or what you have read. And now comes two vessels theory, where the vessel 1 is full of information and vessel 2 is full of logic. Vessel 2 is the most important because you have the information, but logically you need to understand and interpret it. Then only it's going to be useful for you to remember and understand. And hence, this is important. So I'm not going for this. Briefly, I will try to explain the characteristics of scientific temperament. So this is what we want to ask the students to develop. Scientific temperament is an aspect which each and every student belonging to science and technology should adopt. Like curiosity, alertness, should have patience, open mind, and impartially and disbelieving superstitions. See, you should not believe this superstition. You need to ask the reason behind why it is so. what for, and you should have keenness to get the root of the problem. So you must have, you should best analyze the problem. And if you have the Newton's vision, if you remember, like when apple fell on the floor, so there could be two ways to think. So what comes to your mind first? So after saying it, wow, the apple is very red. It's round, it's beautiful, and I can eat it. But there are certain people who think differently. Why it's falling? What's the reason for it? It falls because it is ripened. It falls because it is dropped. It's dealing from the tree. So finally, it falls because it is due to gravitation. So it's the way we analyze the thing. Why it is falling. So this is what invoked the Newton, and he has proved that gravitational force exists, and the apple is falling only because of this gravitational force. This is how we need to inculcate the scientific temperament. We need to make the students to think about scientifically how it is possible, why it is possible. All these things, if they think, they'll come to a good innovative thing which is required in today's world. So in my lecture, whatever I have discussed, I'm going to summarize it. So we have discussed about the effective teaching strategies and which type of strategy we want to adopt. It mainly depends upon the specific learning goal. What's the goal of the learning or the teaching, and that particular strategy is to be adopted. So what's the subject matter? Which effective strategy should I use? What style is suitable for my students? What are the abilities of my students? What is the situation? Under this situation, what strategy should I use? That is what you want to think, and accordingly you want to act. And these are not the strategies which are going to leave behind the chalk and talk. Chalk and talk will always be there because this is the lively teaching method, and these are the add-ons for this chalk and talk. And hence, depending upon the situation, depending upon the ability and style of the students, we need to pick up one or more of the effective teaching strategies and make the students understand in a better way. And this is what I thought of sharing with you. So after your each and every class, you need to take the feedback and you need to analyze your feedback and see how you are performing, and if at all there is scope for improving your performance, you can do that. And this is possible only with feedback. As a teacher, we should not feel shy in taking the feedback. So after every semester, we come to know about the feedback. So sometimes it may be good and sometimes it may not be good. You need to think about what went wrong, and you need to improve your teaching style and ability. And lastly, I would like to end with a quote. The key to effective teaching is to get updated with the requirement of today's world and manage the relationship between yourself and the students so that good rapport is developed with them. So ultimate goal of a teacher is to make the students updated to the requirement of today's world and maintain a good rapport with the students. So with this, I would like to end up my deliberation on effective teaching strategies. And if at all you have any questions, it's your time to ask. Feel free to ask if at all you would like to question any thing. Yes? Any questions? Hello?
Yes, madam.
Any questions, ma'am?
I think we do not have any questions, ma'am.
Yes?
So, ma'am, I would like to say thank you so much, ma'am, for this one. Now, I would like to call.
Dear participant, anybody is having any questions? Madam is waiting for you.
Mashra ma'am, I have a request from my side.
Yes.
Actually, I got a Google form from one of the PhD student, and he is
Okay.
a faculty. He's a faculty, and I would like to share that Google form. And the title of the Google form is, I'll just let you know, ma'am. It's related to the teaching strategy. So I thought that this is the suitable platform to share that. Just a minute now. Okay, a comprehensive study of awareness and attitude of teachers towards resources concerning engineering institutes in Maharashtra state. On this, he's conducting research, and he would like to have the opinion of faculty from A-grade institutes. So should I share this so that the participants can fill up that? Yes, ma'am. Hello.
Yes, madam. All participants are joined through YouTube live channel. We will share, you share us. We will share on their email IDs.
Okay, ma'am. I've shared to Anju ma'am as well as Thakre madam.
Okay, madam.
Please ask them to share, ma'am.
Yes, sure, madam.
Thank you, ma'am, for giving this opportunity. I enjoyed preparing the PowerPoint presentation as well as delivering to you for the second time.
You are always welcome, madam.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now, Yogita madam, come to the conclusion and for vote of thanks.
I would like to call Ms. Anjana to offer a vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Anju Dheeraj Kumar Naidu, Dean of Industry Institute Interface Cell of GH Raisoni University, Saikheda, and co-convener of this faculty development program. It is my great honor and privilege to deliver the vote of thanks for the second session of our one-week faculty development program on innovative teaching learning tools for academicians. Today's session focused on strategies of effective teaching and was both enriching and enlightening. First and foremost, I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed speaker, Dr. N. Tejokalyani Madam, for your comprehensive and insightful presentation on effective teaching strategies has provided us with the valuable tools and techniques that we can implement in our classrooms. Your expertise and dedication to enhancing teaching practices are truly inspiring. The practical insights and strategies you shared will undoubtedly help us to create more engaging and effective learning environments for our students. I also wish to express my sincere thanks to organizing committee for their tireless efforts in planning and executing this event seamlessly. Your hard work behind the scene ensure the success of each session and the overall program. A special thank you goes out to all the participants who have joined us from various states. Your active engagement, thoughtful questions, and positive feedback have greatly enriched our discussions and have been integral to the success of this session. Your enthusiasm and commitment to professional development are what drive the success of such programs. I would also like to extend my gratitude to the leadership of our institutions of their continuous support for providing the resource necessary to conduct such impactful programs. Your vision and encouragement are vital to growth and development. Furthermore, I would like to acknowledge the technical team for their flawless support in ensuring a smooth and glitch-free session. Your efforts are crucial in enabling us to focus on the content without any distractions. As we move forward with the rest of the faculty development program, I am confident that the insights and skills we gain will significantly enhance our teaching methodologies and ultimately benefit our students. Thank you once again, Dr. Tejokalyani Madam, and thank you to all the participants for your active involvement and positive feedback. I look forward to our continued participation in the upcoming sessions. Have a great day to all of you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, madam. Thank you.
Welcome. I'm leaving now, ma'am.
Yes,
All
madam. Sure,
participants.
sure.
The session has been completed. All the participants are requested to leave. Tomorrow we'll continue with another session.